what we've got here. The Athletic. From The Athletic, Wolverines Wire, from one of our favorites, Isaiah Hole. We don't know him, but he is an insider.
That's true.
The Athletic. From The Athletic, Michigan football player offered $1.75 million to transfer. This is called tampering.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened here? Yeah. So according to Isaiah, with the potent mix of the transfer portal and name and image likeness licensing, we're seeing an uptick in tampering. Though programs skirt around it by going through unofficial channels, it's becoming a problem, especially for smaller schools or ones going through coaching changes, like Michigan. Michigan football is in the latter category, with Jim Harbaugh leaving for the NFL, and according to The Athletic, one Wolverine was offered a substantial sum in efforts to get him to leave Ann Arbor. And here's what happened, according to The Athletic. Whispers of lucrative NIL offers for Michigan's star players proliferated during the open transfer window. One parent of a returning starter said, on the condition of anonymity, that their son was offered roughly $1.75 million to play next season at a different school, significantly more than the player was earning at Michigan. Despite those overtures, the transfer window closed, with Michigan losing only one projected contributor, safety Keon Sabb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sharon Moore did an incredible job keeping the roster together. I mean, that's insane.
So what's going on here? What do you know about tampering, and what are they doing about it?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly. I mean, I guess the thing is that you don't really know that it's happening because the players don't want to say that it's happening. You can really only just kind of guess. But like, I could see a world where eventually this gets to a point where players are being tampered with, and if they accept it, then somebody's going to have to incur penalties. Like the student is also going to have to incur penalties, just as the tamperer would have penalties as well. So like if Alabama, like, because Keon Sabb entered the transfer portal and then like 4 days later committed to Alabama. Like it was fast. So the rumor was that, like, or the thought then was, oh, Alabama probably tampered with him. Well, then it comes out that Keon Sabb has like a $2 million NIL valuation at Alabama that they're trying to give him, something like that, I think. And so, yeah, it looks pretty sketchy. Oh, okay. So Antoine says, I don't believe that much money was offered. If anything, they would try to go after a quarterback. If they did offer that kind of money, they are just silly. Why not go after a top-rated quarterback? I don't know. I mean, I'm inclined to believe that. So I guess I would say that if the Michigan player that got offered $1.75 million to transfer is lying about that figure, why? Why? And especially because if he accepted it, then it would have been basically pretty clear that tampering was involved. So obviously, I don't know why he would lie about the specific number figure. What I could see happening is if like a Michigan player or an Ohio State player came out and started a rumor that, like Michigan was trying to tamper with an Ohio State player, or Ohio State was trying to tamper with a Michigan player. Well, where's the proof? And then you could have something like a situation where they're trying to frame the opponent or frame the rival for something that didn't actually happen. In this particular case, no school was given, no school was named. So I'm inclined to believe that the player is just saying like, yeah, this is a problem. I was offered this amount of money, but I don't want to leave. So yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's where I was going with that.
Yeah. Antoine points out that Isaiah Hole has a YouTube channel. Yes, he does. Locked On Wolverines. It's great. I love it. Watch it all the time.
Very good. Where do you think we get all our information?
Free Climb is back. Free Climb says the parent should have revealed who it was. Why protect scum? And
go ahead.
Actually, I was going to ask you. Why would they protect it? It could be to protect themselves, really. I think that could be part of it. I don't know. I would speculate at this point. It would be interesting to see if they would just come out and say, this team offered my son $1.75 million and he never said he was entering the transfer portal. I don't know why you can't say that unless, of course, you can't prove it. So if there's no trail, if there's no paper trail, if there's no digital trail, you're taking a huge risk, because if it was just a phone call, a wink and a nudge, and you have no record of it, then yeah, you better keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. I mean, I don't, anyone can say like, oh yeah, my kid was offered money. See how terrible this situation is. But as soon as you start accusing somebody, that's where I feel like you could get in trouble for libel. Even if it did happen, if you don't have a record of it, like you're saying, then all the other school has to do is sue you. And if you can't produce any evidence, then you're immediately out. Like you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Antoine says, I'm going to tell you straight up, there's no guarantee he will even start there. There are 2 other 5-star safeties waiting. To me, it's a step back. You have to learn a new system on top of it. You must be talking about Keon Sabb.
Yeah, I think he's talking about Keon Sabb. And all I can tell you about that is $2 million is a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's how much it was. I'll look it up real quick. Maybe I'm talking out my butt.
No, I think you're right. It was $2 million for Keon Sabb and then $1.75 million for whoever this story refers to. This is, this is where NIL is gonna. This is the dark side of NIL. Oh, Antoine says yes. He's talking about Keon Sabb.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But this is the dark side of NIL. We wanted to see players get some compensation for what they're doing, because the whole point of this was these players are putting their bodies on the line, potentially risking a potential career-ending injury while they're in college. So they'll never go to the NFL. If that happens, they don't go to the NFL. They can't ever play football again in some cases. And then maybe now they've got to refigure out their entire future. And you might say they should have a plan anyway, but the other side of that is that the schools and the media companies and the boosters are making millions and millions of dollars, and these kids were getting nothing. So NIL was supposed to resolve that, but now this is the dark side of NIL. Now it's money. It's just like the NFL, and you've got so much money flying around, and these kids, if you're between 19 and 23 years old and people are throwing millions of dollars at you, that's got to mess with your head.
Even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, it doesn't take a lot of money for a stupid person to do something extremely stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, Antoine's right. I don't know how much Keon Sabb made. I think I was getting that confused with the $1.75 million that the other player was offered.
Oh, I could have sworn I saw it said $2 million for him. All right. Well, all right.
I don't know. I'm looking up. Actually, this is kind of interesting. So Alabama players, their NIL valuations from On3, Jalen Milroe, the quarterback, is $1.6 million. So yeah, actually, with that being said, right there, Antoine's totally right. There's no way that Keon Sabb was given $2 million.
Okay.
So yeah, I think he's totally right, because like,
all right,
there are only 6 players that actually have NIL valuations at Alabama anyway. So I can, Antoine, you're right. My bad. Please don't unsubscribe.
Unless you get a signed contract, I can promise you anything I want to. Yeah. That's the other part of it. Yeah. If there's no contract, and I mean that's that's what Harbaugh was talking about. He was worried about these players getting manipulated by the system, so he wanted to use his knowledge of what it means to have an agent and or multiple agents in his case, so that these kids could be protected.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I'm kind of upset for him for leaving, because I was hoping he could stick around and do that, but that's a story for another time.
But he wants that Lombardi.
Yeah.
I didn't know this for Antoine. I didn't know this for sure. It's just logic. Well, we have day jobs, Antoine. Sorry.
Okay, there is an article out. Okay, and I don't know. I don't have time here to check and see which one is legit or not, but there is a report out that a Wolverine star was offered a substantial amount of money to get him to leave. According to The Athletic, one player was offered $2 million to leave, but he decided to stay. Okay, so it wasn't Keon Sabb.
Okay. Yeah, that must have been that other player that Isaiah Hole was talking about.
King Davis, 73-74. Apparently, there's a lot of King Davises out there. It says
Wow.
Sabb is going to start. I'm assuming he's projecting that. He's predicting that Sabb could start. Obviously, they don't know yet, but
I
mean, there's a possibility.
I saw an article that the Crimson Tide are actually very much in need of safeties. And so this actually is a position group that Sabb could potentially start in. That was actually another reason why people thought he was transferring, was because he would be a starter at Alabama, and Michigan has a couple of backups that he was going to be fighting for playing time with. So maybe there's something to that too.
All right. Frederick Fields really wants us to know this. His caps lock key is stuck. Transfer protocol as a college football's free agent. I mean,
he's right.
He's right.
Yeah, he's right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely correct. Sam Hartman's looking downfield for Adrian
Carter almost has a one-handed catch.
Almost.